Bitcoin US dollars. Looking in this chart, first of all, starting out, we zoomed out. It's the monthly chart, or the Virgin chart here. Well, pretty much just looking at those, just establish those areas of resistance first of all, seeing what we're looking at. There we go, those two tops there at was that 65, 66k, and then you got the second one, 69k. That was back in 1st November. Absolute high there, that double top again. That was 67. People were really desperate for that one to break outwards and upwards. People were talking 120k by the end of the year, but never showed up. Right, let's just pull that out. We've got the big four on there. Nice large font, nice big line to show where our absolute upside is now. What are we looking at here? We want to see establish the line of support. Line of support. Is that what sort of channel is that? Is that a vaguely triangular, more of a channel? It's quite difficult to discern, isn't it? Let's see if we can get any further than that. Further than the monthly 100, 1000 ranges. No, we can't really do that. And hopefully, it's a very long ascending triangle, is it? Let's keep going there, and the points will just keep going on and on until eventually we run out of time. Right, is that the support area down there? Try and zoom in on that, and then try and get accurate support line. Fairly accurate support line. Let's have a look. Let's try and get that there. In that broad area along there. Pokey, yeah, that'll do. Moving from the monthly, it's sort of vaguely ascending triangle. Would have been nicer if we could just get her. It's very lateral and square boxish. If that had come down, that would be nice. All phase with accumulation phase, but it's sort of has the appearance, may think of a pennant ascending triangle. It's very vague, isn't it? That lower line is slightly fatter. It's not sharp enough. It's not coming up too sharp to make it very discernible. For example, just if it was something like that, we could very clearly see that would be an ascending triangle. And those patterns, an ascending triangle pattern, would actually continue on in the general direction of the trend, which has been well established. Now, it is quite lateral, but as we can see, that double bottom down there, and it's come up. So established support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the zone around where that white line is there. And I was just wondering how much percentage there is to play between those areas where the support lines of those wicks support lines. So 1, 2, 3, more than two or more, and you get the establishment of a line, a support or resistance line, on there. So just going to channel down onto the weekly chart, zooming back out again, just to have a little look and see what's going on in the world. That box there was from that the box here is placed in during the general decline down there. The general decline, we're looking for support area, likely support areas, probably based on history of fibs, things like that. Maybe a history of prior lows and highs. Areas of consolidation tend to go and form that line, and I don't know what's happened there. Doesn't look very good, does it? Going out here, not much previous history necessarily. Let's have a little look out there. Just put it out. Nothing much going on. And I think that was pretty much based on that area of resistance there, wasn't it? Let's just take that out. It doesn't appear to be terribly. No, let's keep that in because that line along there has proved itself to be useful in the daily charts. Just go now to the daily chart and see what we've got. Let's just go back to the weekly. I think, we've established there's a monthly close. Looking at the monthly close, last two candles closed green. Well, last one and this one is currently green and showing some good indications that it might just go up in the recent times. It has been a lot of blood and fear lately, but the double bottom, if it does come down again, we might be able to expect to come down to about 35k rather than something like those 40s. So 40s might establish a new line along there. See the bottom of the bodies. It's 38. What's that there? 33. It might go 38. Closer to 40 might be the new bottoms of the support levels we can expect. So monthly, one close of green by the skin of the teeth, and then working on trying to get that new green. Having a weekly, nice, finishing the weekly, establishing. Right, so we come down here, general trend for the past 2.5 months, declining trend, coming down from initial peak 69, trying to get to 70k. There it was, and we're looking at something like 50% decline. Everybody was quite shocked by that. Shouldn't be. Crypto does, especially Bitcoin's got a long history of being highly volatile, huge corrections. So we're here, vague establishment of a W bottom there. See there, nice W. Okay, so double bottom, the W bottom is a very, very good indicator. So what is general indication of the W double bottom is a reversal pattern. A reversal pattern. There's nothing more than seeing just going the opposite way as an indication that there is an impending reversal, going the opposite way of the previous trend. The inverse of this is a double top. 1, 2, double top, coming down, and then to the double bottom, preparing for a reversal of the trend. Probably looking for, we need to get above these EMAs in the weekly. Start getting above the EMAs in the weekly before there could be a genuine confirmation of the full reversal of the trend. But the definite W bottom there, and that kind of really is making people quite bullish at the moment, because that W bottom, the W pattern is positively confirmed looking into the weekly. So before we go there, just want to establish some levels. Let's have a look what's going off there. You see broadly level there, level along there. What have we got? Level along there. So broadly, Vase peak resistance on that level was 45,365 and then 43,8278. And they're sort of broadly level, aren't they? Broadly level. Just drawing out that line there. Slightly high highs. Moving along, but let's just see the peaks of the truss there. Broadly along there. Broadly channeling. Broadly channeling. Well, why has that come down there? Let's have a look at that. We don't want that there. Just there. Let's just see, trying to want some real accuracy on those. So we're just going to start examining the very slightly more short-term trend before looking at the long as well. So general idea is this comes down, forms a reversal pattern, and tries to, essentially, we want it to push up through areas of resistance. Going into the daily, let's just tap that one out, get a change colour on there, get the dotted lines on, there we go, and let's get the colour changes on there so they're absolutely more easily discernible. And then just looking for something where tradable patterns in the ranges. Why do we look at it? Why do I look at Bitcoin? Because it sort of informs the rest of the market. Really, it's sort of a gold standard coin. He's a well-known coin for that reason. He gets a lot of press because he is the gold standard, the king of coins. Right, he was the first by virtue of being the first. Here we go. So let's just pop off that W there. Again, you can see that little double top capitulation. Touch that area support. Now let's just have a look at that. Yeah, the main bodies of the candles. So where is that general support line I put in? Yeah, on that low. Try to move that up a little bit in there. But again, you can see these are coming through in the daily. What parallels we got generally. So the bottom of those main bodies, top of the main candle, is that accurate? Pretty much, yeah. And that solid green candle starting to rising above the main body and totally engulfing the main body, bullish engulfing candle pattern, moving on into a continuator, starting to form a range bound movement with the continuation pattern. So let's just examine that, test that if that is a range bound pattern as well. So there is. This doesn't just go up. I think if it was truly bearish, this would have just like some big green candles, big green dildos get fucked by big red dildos that come down. And that is just a general rule of thumb to expect. Okay. Want to go into the, and it's just going back off to the monthly there. Let's talk about that before we go in. Real onto there. So assume that was an ascending triangle. Work on our thesis for a little bit. It's a chart pattern created by two or more patterns there, 5 along there, 3 across the top. It's created by the price moving, the fluctuations of the price. First move up, creates that high, pivots low, pivots high, pivots low. Just looking at the moment for that pivot high, moving up, and either come out to the breakout, or just comes up, test resistance, rejected at resistance for further move up, and then comes down. But that will be creating a high, slow, bullish, fantastic. That's if that does happen. So the price moves that allow for the horizontal lines with the movements within those horizontal lines. These two horizontal lines that are formed by those peaks and troughs of the highs and the lows create that triangle. How these trade is just looking for the breakouts, and the breakouts get measured by, for example, the high and the low. A little bit of a breakout there, just for the sake of the chart. If it did break down low there and it just came out right now from that point, that is the essential movement. Why? Again, that high and that low there, yeah, that high and that low to there. So you get a range of, say, different potential measurements, and you can use those in conjunction with the fibs. Yeah, so if it was to come down now, so from the high to the low, from the low point to the high point, and that'll come out 6.8. Potentially, it might even accelerate through there, depending on various other micro macro factors. external factors influencing the crypto sphere. That's another rabbit hole. It's generally, you could trade this on the smaller time frames, shorter time frames, with as a continuation pattern. It's really, really quite useful. The price will generally break out in the same direction as the previous trend. So in this case, got that flagpole there. Yeah, of course, the flagpole. So you got the flagpole right down here, and there you have that's another potential breakout move there. Barely one moment. You could have a fibs there. Let's have a look. And again, adheres to the fibs. To that 2.6. We'll have a little golden ratio triangle there. Very important number, golden ratio triangle for the Fibonacci sequence. Look it up. Okay, so there's a bit of theory aside. It's possible to take a long trade, like I said, if it breaks out. Look in this one, it will break high. That line was a demonstration. You can use that line in conjunction with other factors as well. The breakout, you'd probably want to see really big problem of volume, more volume in there, more energy, greater the impulse to move out. And that profit target, how calculated just by those simple measurements you can do in conjunction with other stuff. So those smaller, ever increasingly smaller measurements, that's good to be conservative in the estimates as well, just to save yourself. When that breakout happens, it's generally that volume, accompanying volume, is aggression from traders looking to really get there to buy or sell, depending on what's going on. The more touches there are, the greater accuracy or the more reliability that are in measuring the breakout point. The more multiple swings you get, the more pivot points you get to manage from, those sort of wavelengths, peaks and troughs you get to measure from. You can increase sort of validity, the accuracy of taking those measurements for estimates. It's low volume, obviously, it lacks impetus. It could be a bit of a fake out or a false breakout. That entry point is sort of generally taken where the price does break out, because if it does look like it's like coming out, you've got to confirm the breakout. Otherwise, you're looking at the volume levels as well, because if it's low volume, just fairly good chance it's just going to come back in or fall back through, which what happened here. You want to step stop losses, all that kind of stuff. The main limitation there is for like I just said before, the false breakout accompanied by the low volume. These things they're saying it adhere to. You've got to keep redrawing these lines. Really got to keep drawing those lines, redrawing, and keep an eye on it. Okay, back into the weekly again, having a look at that, and you can see it's sort of that W, the way it's ranging, it's consolidating, it's bunching up there. It's like it's bunching up, coiling up for a move upwards and outwards. Okay. That big green candle there was a result of things like Ukraine wanting to use Bitcoin for legal tender, which is going to be needed, and also Russians as well. They're going to wake up one day quite shortly and find out. It's been on the cards for a few months, and it's confirmed okay by their head of state. The head of state wants this Bitcoin to be working properly as well, because people to wake up in Russia and discover coffee is going to cost an absolute fortune, like a month's wages or something daft. You, so there is demand on it. See how their economic warfare plays out. Unfortunately, I can't believe I'm talking about that, but it is a factor. So you want to start looking at the W bottom, switching up to the daily, or just decreasing forever and a day these levels of going to shorter time frames, quicker time frames. See that breakout there, go back to the weekly on the EMAs. Just want to have a look at the EMA, the weekly, really look at them all converging, getting ready to possibly swap over that 55. Just sat there nicely. It's trying to move that above that 55 at the moment this week. Hopefully get a full candle body above that red line there, the thin red line. Get a full candle body above there, and it's starting to look like some pretty good upside potentially. There's nothing guaranteed; it could come down again, and it's starting to form this W bottom. So what is the W bottom that was? I'm trying to gas about on the daily. So it's a pattern. The W bottom. Just to re-highlight it. Yeah. Okay, so it's come down. It's what it is. It's a change in reversal, change of momentum. It's a rapid, big old descent down there. That big descent, 50% descents, and boy, it's looking for that W bottom there. Boom, rebounds quite sharply, and then equal or to within that bottom would be between sort of 3-5%, something like that, as a W bottom in a good way, to make it a good solid W bottom. And that rebound, there you go. So there you go, the similar level drop. W bottom looks like letter W, and is also a support level. See that pattern in there. That's not quite accurate again. My white line a bit trashy, but you can see through there that yellow dotted line. There is there it is. And what do you want to consider there? That higher low. There we've got like slightly sort of higher-ish highs, haven't we? It's come down there. Still, jury's out a little bit. But that is consolidating nicely, forming a nice little level of support on there. So yeah, that one there, maybe that's a little, that's a good old solid 50% drop, a good old solid decent. Let's have a look on the upside. That was, that's 20%, isn't that nice? That's a nice 20%. The advance of the first bottom should be 10 to 20%. So going up that section there of the W, there, that first advance 10%, and that is 20%, and pretty much equal down. And again up to within sort of 3-5% of the bottom, the two lows there. There's about there's about 3 to 4, just 3.5 to 4% difference there, and you go. Sort of some phrase, it's the longer the duration of these two lows, the better it is. I think the stronger it is, and that's realistically, apart from those 2 weeks, that is about a week, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So that is realistically about a week forming those two bottoms in there. Not necessarily where the lower wick is where you've got all these general lows of those low point wicks are, and that's a couple of weeks forming W pattern, the bottoms of the W patterns alone. That you're looking quite good about that. It's sort of, you can range it, but it got above. Oh, we got above that sort of levelish of area of support in there. So having doubts about this box in here. So let's just go into the 4 hour. Have a little look at that. We'll have a look at the continuation pattern. What is it doing? What is it doing? What is it all about? Is it going to form a pennant or what? And just trying to make it more visible by using slightly different things, different line setups on there, so the chart is just not too bulkified. What is it doing? Is it just channeling up? Is it just channeling up there? Let's have a look at this in the 1 hour. Looks a bit better in that 1 hour chart, doesn't it? It's just a massive bull flag, eh? And again, with those flag setups, you have got a flagpole. Okay, so just going to make that very bold. Like that flagpole. Solid line there. So wherever the point of the breakout is, if it breaks low at the moment, it's not going to, but just keep it there because it's still on the low side. It can come down. And also, it's just a bit more visible in this 1 hour time chart. There's also the width of the pennant on there. Okay. Also, that last oscillation might just be a little low peak out, but won't bother going too small at the moment. So just having a look at that potential breakout size there. That is somewhere sort of between 5 of May. Let's have a look. And 13%. And I'm wondering what price action that'd be. It's probably potentially looking about 50 at the moment. Break out to the 4, see what we can get. Break out to the daily. That should show up quite well. And that's taken up to that 52% area there. Sorry, 52,000, 52k. Now, just having a look at that. And that crosses over with a 618 as well. So there's some pretty good confluence. Some reasonable confluence there. You see along there is a pretty decent point where it's fairly likely, in a bullish case, it might just rise up that point. So that's pretty good, pretty awesome. So I'm going to take that. But that might take weeks yet to get there. Okay. But what's going to happen in a much shorter time frame? Going off in the early. Right now, overnight, expecting that to rise up. Maybe. Let's have a little look. We get on the fibs. Pop that fibs down on the capitulation from that high to low of the main body. That's 786 for a start. Let's just go up to there, to the top. Yeah, that's 786, not far off that main body, is it? Eh? So that's a fairly likely area of contention. Let's just take it off the main body there. It's not strictly legit, but it does work. It can work very well and helps the guideline. Dotted line. 1 point there. And that would, look at that, massive old. Yeah, it might just peak above the 786, won't it? So potential price rise on this would be to 44953 if entering now. So that's the sell price there, 44953 for about 44872 to be safe, I'd say. That's potential. You see how it goes. Set your target prices for yourself. Don't take it for granted off anybody. That's a nice ball flag, isn't it? Hey? Lovely, lovely ball flag. Let's check the percentage rise on that from this moment. Yeah, 2.5%. You know, if you put in a 10k in, that's a couple £100, day's wages, eh? And that is what's happening at the moment. So I'm betting on maybe to go up there a little bit. Now then, very good. I'm happy with that. What I'd like to have RSIs, they've been very, very low, potentially looking good. To come up is sort of suggesting that RSIs, which aren't shown on this chart, are suggesting something really good's about to happen. Potentially, touch wood, has the potential that something really good's going to happen. Right then, good night. I'm going to go to bed and be up at 4:30 in the morning, and the time is now fucking hell 10 o'clock. Pardon my French. Here we go.